but let's get to the hamster wheel that the entire world is consuming at this
Isn't
point.
that right?
Okay.
Pokemon Go. Joe, I listened to last week's episode again to hear what you said when I asked you if you would ever play this game, and your answer was probably not. And now, weeks later,
I believe I also added that I would play it when the servers were better.
correct. And how did that
So
go?
we're still not playing.
Which
Never really happened.
I also lied about that. So I lied on 2 counts.
We touched on it briefly last week, but we need to fully address this insane phenomenon. Have you guys, what is the most comparable phenomenon to the Pokemon Go sensation that you've ever seen in the game industry? Is there anything that's bordering on it?
I have never seen anything like it because normally in the game industry, sure, you find like pockets of crazy stuff going on, but they're all like, these are gamers, right? These are people who are already invested in games. With Pokemon Go, everyone, whether they like games or don't like games, they're on their phone playing.
Yeah, it's not confined to that one community anymore. It's everybody.
Yeah, I've seen dogs and plants playing this game.
I feel like, I mean, not to diminish what like Pokemon Go is doing, because it's definitely on a phenomenon level that I don't think has been seen. But like, remember when the Wii first came out and like everyone was clamoring for that? There was the same degree, like a similar degree anyway, of like mainstream news coverage on how desirable these consoles were, all of the health benefits of it, and things like that. So I mean,
That's true.
Like, I feel, I'm not saying it's the exact same thing, but I think that there's a similar vibe to the sort of phenomenon level.
That's a good point. Yeah,
I do think it's a good point. I also think there's a major difference in that, as crazy as the Wii thing was, you're always playing that, inside someplace with other people.
Oh yeah.
So you couldn't really see on how it was affecting on the global scale. Whereas this, I can't walk down the street without seeing 5 people playing at most times of the day. It's absurd.
Or at least trying to play.
Well, we're
trying to log in.
They're obviously attempting to log in.
Yeah.
it's so funny. Like I've been obsessed with this game. I'm level 20. Dan, where you at?
I'm 21 right now.
Okay, Joe, where you at?
10.
Elise, are you playing this?
I am, but I just started a few days. I think I'm level 6 or something.
What team are you on?
I haven't been to a gym yet, so
Oh Lord!
I'm still early on because it hadn't officially launched in Canada, and so I just got here last week. But there are ways to get around that in Canada. Like
Okay.
Sure
everyone
is.
with an Android, especially, it is super easy for them. I have an iPhone, and I was too busy with moving to really like sit down and figure it out.
Don't worry about it.
We obviously do not endorse doing that.
I was totally. I am not. I could tell. Like just walking downtown, it was insane. Like everyone I'd pass by had it on their phone, or there'd be swarms of people around like Pokestops and stuff. And like I'd go with my best friend, and she was playing all the time, and like lures and like tons of like lures everywhere, and like
So much fun.
just
It's
crazy.
so
Like
much
seeing all
fun.
these people swarming everywhere, and like
Yeah.
sitting on curbs, and just like and she'd be like talking to random people. It's just like, hey, like there's a Snorlax over here or whatever, like it brings people together.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating.
I've been talking to a lot of people because there's this gym right behind my house. It's a brewery in Northeast Minneapolis, and there are always people sitting on the curb out there. And so I've made a real point to go out there and talk to almost every one of them consistently, because like every night it's like, well, I'll just keep battling this gym forever. This is gonna be the rest of my life now. But to your point, Joe, it's so funny because like I'll be talking to a couple Pokemaniacs there, and just mid-conversation, we'll all be checking our phones, and you can see them reflexively just, oh yeah, I've got to close out of the app. It froze up here. Like it has become such an unconscious movement because of how broken this game is, and the servers are such trash. But it is almost widely accepted at this point. It's just part of the game. Of course it's going to do, 4 out of the 10 things you want it to, but yeah, it's great. What are you going to do?
And I highly recommend, by the way, Jeff Cork wrote a piece for us that's on our website right now that was like, something to the effect of like Pokemon Go is a phenomenon and a janky mess.
Right.
Which, like, he sort of goes into detail on some of these things there too. But like, to me, I am, like you say, Hanson, I am just baffled at the level of acceptance that people have for just the like. Okay, so here's the example that comes to mind. It's like I remember just the outcry when Skyrim released and had some bugs that like these bugs did not prevent you from playing the game.
They were funny bugs.
Yeah, that
too.
dragon was flying backwards.
Yeah,
Joe.
I mean, like there are some weird things that happen, and okay, granted, there are some quests that you can't complete, and
The
that-
PS3 version
and
was
and that's
barely playable.
and that's an let's just look at the 361 for the moment. Because like I guess what I'm saying is that like even though that game was still you could still play and enjoy 95% of the content that Skyrim had to offer.
Mm-hmm.
It was just sort of like held up as this like example of how not to release games.
Right.
This is just buggy garbage, and if you can suffer through it, it's pretty great. But it was just deemed unacceptable. And now Pokemon Go comes out, and like we're not talking about glitches that make it so like oh, there's this little thing I can't do. You just cannot play the game.
Right.
Well,
go ahead.
No, but what's most frustrating is when you catch something you really wanted to catch, and then like it's just the Pokeball, and it's just there, and it doesn't move, and I'm just like, are you kidding? That happens to me so much.
Yeah, it interferes with the core thing. Like the whole thing the game wants you to do is catch them, and it lets you do that about 30% of the time. Well, okay, no, that's an exaggeration.
It really depends on the day.
Not bring numbers into
it depends, but. All I'm saying is that, like, if you have a bug that makes it so that people cannot catch things when that is the core thing that you want them to do, and it gives them the disappointment of like, oh, that's a thing I don't have. Oh, I don't get it now.
But is the game just that addicting? Like, is it holding the game back at all? Do you think anybody has stopped playing because it barely works?
Absolutely.
People have?
Certainly people have.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
So, I mean, it's crazy to say that we'd see an impact and it would be more of a phenomenon if it worked great.
I feel like people are playing anyway, regardless.
Right, and they keep releasing in new countries, so like that's the thing.
And that's the thing about it that's so cynical, because like that they are already making millions of dollars off of this game,
Very
right?
much so.
So of course, if you can make millions of dollars and then you can make more millions of dollars by releasing it to more countries,
That's
do
a pretty
that.
solid plan.
But to me,
Yeah.
but I mean, like that's such a cynical short-term way of looking at it when you have this game that is just daily. They open it up to new countries and then everything just takes a crap and you can't play it for hours. And it's just like,
I have no idea though. I'm not technical enough to understand like if the new countries thing is specifically hurting it. Like I understand it runs like complete crap, but that could be completely independent of them releasing in other countries. Like, I don't know if those server farms are based in Abu Dhabi or what. Like,
if nothing else, you'd think that it would be a show of good faith to the players to be like, look, we're going to focus our team not on bringing this out across the world right now, but on stabilizing the experience. So when we do release it, everyone enjoys it.
or at the very least, say something, Niantic. And Dan's a defender over here, just to throw you under the bus, being like, they don't have a community guide.
They don't. I would say nothing. What are they going to say?
What are they doing? Say, hey, we
What are they
understand you're
gonna tell
experiencing
you?
a lot of problems. We're working on it.
Yeah, they've just written that on Twitter like 5 times.
Yeah, they've just.
And
Well, they say like we're expanding to more countries, but be like, hey, this 3-step glitch that's also terrible, we're
That's
also
terrible.
working on it. Just send out one tweet a week. That's all I ask, saying
um,
something.
Why send out a meaningless tweet?
It's not meaningless.
all
Everyone's like, what the
they've
hell's
said
going on?
again and again is that we're working on it.
Yeah, there you go.
Get specific.
Speaking of
Please.
tweets,
There's the thing you can't plan like again. They didn't plan on this, right? So like what they plan for like concurrency on their servers is obviously way lower than what they can handle, and adding more people doesn't help. And what do they do? We'll find out.
I mean, on some level, all of that stuff boils down to not my problem. As an end user, I want a game that works.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. With
I want to
that.
be able to do the things like, I'm
not a bold stance. Totally.
I don't think that's asking too much.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think, I'm glad I'm not reviewing this game because this game would get a super low score for just being a barely functional piece of software.
But you seem to like it a lot when it is functioning.
And I do. And that's
that's
the problem.
great.
Yeah,
That's so
I
sweet.
do. Yeah, so I do enjoy it when it's like, so our office is sort of situated between 2 Pokestops, so
Mhm.
that's kind of nice. You can just sort of sit at your desk and every few minutes get some. I mean,
and having a little bit of that hive mind where it's like, hey, everybody, there's a Golbat here, or something just slightly
Nobody
above
has ever
common.
said
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and no one ever
Well,
will.
no,
Well, Golbat,
but it is
something.
and I think it's also helpful. I guess I don't know how it is in normal offices if you work in an accounting firm, if you have a bunch of people who are into Pokemon but I mean, at a gaming magazine, lots of people are playing this game
Yeah.
and,
My-
and
my-
enjoying it.
It's not
So-
that this is like an office, but my friend works at Edible Arrangements, and apparently, like all of them there.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
They're all playing,
I think it's everybody in the world, like to the point where like,
and the manager too. Like everybody is just.
I never would have started if I
But
I never would have started
it's
playing
fun
this.
when you've got that like group of people to
Exactly.
like compare with and stuff.
Yeah, and that's about all you can do right now, which is a real bummer. But trading is going to be fantastic. Like that'll add a whole new social dynamic to be like, okay, what candies are you going for? I can get you these. I can get you these. I want to ask, what about community engagement protocol? Like for me, I've been taking a lot of walks, playing this game, racking up those sweet egg kilometers. And like I'll be listening to podcasts, of course, but every time I see somebody on the sidewalk, I make it a point to take out my earbuds like a weirdo and give them like a, "Hey, Pokemon, catch anything good lately?" Is that weird to address every single person?
Yeah, I want nothing to do with anyone else playing Pokemon.
What? That's the whole point. You're talking about what a great phenomenon it is.
Don't talk to me.
I've seen it both ways. There are people who don't want to talk to him, just play their game. That's cool. And then I've seen people who are like, "Dude, let's go catch this Vulpix over here, man." And then like it's just an actual like group forms and starts walking. Like I spent downtown Minneapolis, just a group kept getting bigger over the course of the day as we kept adding new people at lured stops.
Yeah.
It was like, "Yeah, let's come along. Cool. What's your name?" "I'm cool." "Yeah." Well,
at least try and break that ice is my point. Like I was at a park, which is just really popular here in Minneapolis, Victory Memorial Drive, for catching Pokemon. And everyone was just sitting around. There was maybe like 40 people or so sitting around on a Saturday. And no one was really talking to each other. They were talking in smaller groups, not like a bigger unit, you know? And at a certain point, like the servers just weren't working for like our small group. And it's one of those things where I had to stand and be like, is no one playing right now? Are the servers down for everybody? And they're like, yeah, actually, no, the servers are completely down for everybody. So like, there's some benefit to that group dynamic beyond just saying, hey, there's a Vulpix over here. Run this way.
No, absolutely. I do think it's a social game. I think you can't ignore that. But people can play it in a variety of ways, and they're all right. Okay, like if you want to be the one being like, "Hey, what do you got? What are you doing? What are you doing out here?" You know,
shoving my head in their
that's
car
fine.
window.
Just and then there are other people who are just they don't want to interact or talk at all. They just want to take the gym and walk away. If that's what they want to do, that's fine
these
too.
Bastards are out there so late at night taking that gym. I'll see it turn. And it's like they were right there at like 12:30.
They were there. They're always there.
Oh, hiding in the bushes at times.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you, Dan, because you're a big systems guy. And weeks into this game, I want to get a sense of Pokemon Go's meta, how you're feeling like the systems are holding up, how well designed this game is overall.
Not good. I mean, I think it's a fantastic game, and more so a fantastic experience, and a fantastic social MMORPG played in the real world. I think that's great, but there are lots of stuff that's wrong.
Servers aside.
Server issues. Servers aside, yeah, man, it's just
what kind of stuff?
Well, I mean, there is no end game, and that's fine. For if you just want to keep leveling up and taking gyms, that's cool. That's fine. The stuff that's might be in the future, like raiding and stuff like that.
But isn't there
that will help a lot?
You talk about raiding, I mean, like everybody trying to catch a Mewtwo, like is in that trailer.
Right.
But isn't there something kind of fun about that mystery element? About like there are legendaries that no one knows how to get yet, or even Ditto, who's not a legendary that no one's caught in the world. I bet there's a crazy trick to get them.
The theory, current acting theory is that those are raid Pokemon since they are legendary. But we'll find
Ditto's
out.
Not legendary though.
Not Ditto. Ditto'll be weird. It'll be like some event.
I bet you can get Ditto right now, just no one's figured out. I bet it's some weird trick like the evolution.
There are really cool secrets in the game, so I admit that could be one of those things. Yeah.
Okay, but outside of endgame stuff, you're still not satisfied?
Some of the systems just are really... It becomes harder to catch Pokemon as you level up. It seems like it should be easier. Just even the garbage Pokemon. I'm not a huge fan of the catch 1,000 Pidgeys. The best way to do things is to catch 1 billion Pidgeys and then hit your lucky egg and just sit there and evolve for a straight 30 minutes.
You say you're not a big fan, but you've been doing it a lot.
Of course, I will always take the most efficient system and do it.
Yeah. Also, who do these Pidgeys think they are? It's like, I throw a ball at him to try and get him, and then they try and break out. Like, no, I'm too good for it. It's like, you're a Pidgey, man.
Know your role.
Yeah,
get in the ball.
I got 20 of your brothers and sisters back here. Just get in the ball.
We're going to turn you into candy real good.
Yeah, you're not too good for me.
I don't particularly care for that, but I don't know how they could have done it better. I'm just saying, like, as a game design thing, they're always like, how can we make people do this, do the fun thing instead of the most efficient thing? And the only real way to solve that is to make the fun thing the most efficient thing as well.
I wonder if they would ever patch it out to make it like so the lucky egg doesn't affect evolution XP.
That would be even worse.
What's a lucky egg?
The lucky egg doubles your experience while you have it active. It lasts for 30 minutes.
Okay.
So the best way to level is to just gather, a whole like McDonald's farm of chicken nugget Pidgeys and just evolve them all during a half an hour period.
Okay.
To get the most experience.
Oh, good. And I've been collecting crap like that. We got so many Drowsies around this office.
Well, the Drowsy
ridiculous.
The difference why Pidgeys and Weedles and stuff like that are the best is because they cost 12 to evolve. The useless Drowsies cost 50, so you're not really.
Oh, please tell me Rattatas are good because I gotta.
They're middle of the road.
So they
25. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you can use them in this strategy.
They're doing okay. I've heard there's a lot of debate about whether or not the candy system works out well. A lot of people are like, why can't I just get experience like in the Pokemon games and level up that way?
Well, you
It's
know,
like, without battling though, you can't do it. Like
it's a system. I'm okay with it. You're gonna run into Stardust problems for sure.
yeah.
As you want to make your bigger Pokemon. But again, this is a game clearly not designed to be played and quote unquote beaten in 2 weeks, a month, or 3 months, or even 6 months. All right, they're definitely going for like, all right, you want to get to the cap, whatever that is, it'll take you years. Fine, that's cool.
To me, though, it seems like a huge oversight that at launch there is not a way to be like, Hanson, you have a Pidgey, I have a Pikachu, let's fight them.
Yeah, for sure.
Like-
and I mean, they're
like-
gonna patch it in.
Ostensibly, that
yeah.
is going in.
I know it's going in, but I mean, like, if you were to distill the world of Pokemon down into like one thing,
Uh-huh.
it's like you catch Pokemon so you can fight with them.
I don't know.
I
Transferring
don't-
candies is pretty.
The combat is just not really that compelling. The whole gym, you can argue that the gym mechanics are because there's a social component to it. Like if Hanson, is an 11 o'clock p.m. creeper, he just
That's right.
drives by the gym and takes it over. That's an interesting. You get a rivalry going. You start to learn the names of the people who are coming by. You start to see them coming by, and then you even may start to interact with them. That's up to you.
Yeah,
But
no.
And a combat system is just you're just tapping the button. That's not interesting for anyone.
I know, but I mean, like at the beginning of the game, it's like, oh, all right, I get to choose like my starter Pokemon. Charmander's cool. I always go with Charmander, and now I've got just this garbage Charmander that's sitting at the bottom of my Pokedex because, like, what am I going to do with him?
Well, to be fair, like I understand people complain about that. Like you get really excited about catching a rare one, then if it's a low CP, it's like, well, I'll never catch another one, so I can never level it up. But as far as the end result, I kind of like having this variety. I feel like there's enough variety of who's actually capturing the gyms, and I'm excited that it's not just like the games where it's like everybody has Venusaur, everybody has Blastoise, everybody has Charizard.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's great.
There's a fun amount of variety, and I feel like it's enough, and it's a well-balanced amount of variety
Is
out
it?
there.
Because, like, I don't. Maybe it's just the Twin Cities, but like every gym I see has like a Snorlax sitting in it, and a,
Yeah.
like some Eevee evolution.
Snorlax evolutions,
and,
like they roll very high on the CP scale when you
Mhm.
evolve them, so that's why they're current.
But I mean,
current winners.
Hanson's talking about the variety, and I'm saying like there's not.
I still feel like every once in a while it's like, oh my god, there's a Dragonite at this gym, or oh my god, there's I saw like a Poliwrath take this other gym. Like it's not a landslide in one direction.
I don't
guess
know if
that's
variety is going to be
exciting.
an issue because it's quite clear they're going to put in the next generation of Pokemon at a regular interval, right? Like
Right.
It's got to happen based on the awards that are already in the game. Like you got
Maybe
the Johto
once a
award.
year. What do you
Who
think?
knows?
Dan?
Twice a year.
You think? Well, I don't think they're.
I don't think they're
going
going
to
to Hang on. I think first year we'll see another complete generation, and then they'll divide it into halves for the next year.
You want to make a bet on that?
No, because that's a pretty specific thing to say.
Yeah.
I'd have to get pretty crazy odds.
Okay.
We'll talk about that later. One of the things that I find like just crazy distressed about that was just terrible design that should have been in before the game launched is like, sure, if we're going to transfer our crappy Pokemon into Kanzi, but let us do that on a global scale.
Oh
Let
yeah.
me select 50 Pokemon. Like if I'm after out on a walk, I look at my thing. I'm just like, oh, I got 100 garbage Pokemon to chop up, and I have to do them each one at a time.
Oh, it doesn't let you do.
No, you can't both transfer.
I haven't done that yet.
It is a nightmare.
Oh,
You're-
God.
But it takes a while. It'll take a lot of that 30 minutes from the lucky egg, but it's very satisfying when you eventually close out of that and look at how far your experience has gone up. It's really
Yes,
good.
the methodology is fine, but like again, taking the time to go through your Pokebox and trash literally 100 plus garbage Pokemon for candy, it's awful and should not be that time consuming.
Well, then again, the
Group
game
selection
isn't
is
designed to min-max like that. You
yeah,
know
it
what I mean?
absolutely is. You don't think that? Come on. There are people out there catching.
In an ideal world, it's not
Are
like
you-
this.
are you
This is
saying-
the most fun you can have with this
Are
game.
you saying that their average end user just plays for 3 minutes a day, catches one Pidgey, calls it good? And
I'm
that's
saying
it?
min-maxing a lot of games, it's going to be a dumb, boring grind at a certain point, right? If
What
that's
is-
your
wait,
only
what
goal.
is what is the major complication with putting a system in that lets me transfer more than one Pokemon?
I'm not saying that wouldn't be great. I'm not saying that wouldn't be great. I'm just saying it's not exactly the ideal experience of
Okay.
playing Pokemon Go that I'm sure they had in mind.
What experience was that?
It's shoving your head through car windows and screaming at somebody on Team Red.
But we're already doing that. We're
That's
doing
true.
that. It's part of the game. I
So we
agree.
got a lot of emails about Pokemon Go that I just want to jump the gun a little bit and get to.
Ooh.
Just Billy from
Wait,
New
wait,
Jersey.
Are we into email segment?
No,
now,
no,
or-
not yet.
We might
There are
just
so
switch
many
segments.
that were. No. This is still within the
All right.
Pokemon
Oh,
Go
okay.
segment.
Okay,
it's,
okay.
it's out of form, I know. But Billy from New Jersey is in love with the game. He's going on a bunch of Pokewalks, meeting a bunch of people. He just wants to know if you guys think it's going to be a passing fad. How long is this thing here to stay? How long will we see people in the streets playing this game?
One of the things I love about this game is that during the first few days, people wouldn't shut up about how this was the next Miitomo, and I was just like,
Yep.
"Do you guys know what a game is? This is a lot different, right?" Like, no, honestly, I
Totally.
really thought to myself, like, "There's no concept here. Like, the Miitomo is just like you put on outfits.
Yeah.
This
And
is
answer questions.
an actual interactive experience in the real world. It's crazy. No,
Yeah.
It won't be a fad. I think it'll definitely die down a little bit from the insanity that it is now. But Ingress lasted for many years, and that's a very niche game. This is,
I think this is here to last for quite some time. Like,
So you think seeing people on the street is not going to be uncommon 2 years from now?
maybe not to the extent that we're seeing right now,
Well,
but
sure.
yeah, like every once in a while, you're gonna still see people like pulling out their phones.
I want to throw a caveat in here.
Uh-huh.
And this is all up to Niantic, honestly.
That's what I was
Because
gonna
if this game gets the support,
Yeah.
then sure. If it's just like
if Niantic
we released
keeps,
it everywhere
you
later.
know, pushing
Yeah.
out new content and adding new, systems and stuff, then
But they have such an easy roadmap for new content. Like, it's the most
It's not-
obvious crap.
It's not just the roadmap for new content, though. It's also just like making
Fixing
like,
what they've got.
making it work. Like
Mhm.
if this is what
Uh-huh.
I know, I'm sorry to keep harping on the fact that I want a game that doesn't crash 70% of
I
the
would
time.
be surprised though if they didn't. I think maybe I don't know how long from now, but we'll see things smooth out.
Yeah.
Uh,
Here's hoping. We're going to run out of,
I'm sure
countries
we
to expand to
It
at
sure
some
seems
point.
like
Otherwise,
are
people are
eating it
just
up
going
when
to
it's
keep getting
garbage.
more pissed off.
Yeah. People eat garbage all the time. Ethan from Indiana writes in, he says, Pokemon Go is huge right now, but what happens, and I didn't even consider this, what happens when kids get off summer break? Will we hear about fights over Pokemon Go that happen in the classroom, or will schools have to ban Pokemon Go?
I'm absolutely sure you will. Okay, this is the thing about it being a game in the real world. There are real world hazards and real world challenges that go along with that.
Uh-huh.
You're not playing a game in your living room with the air conditioning on. There is substantial. Some of these Pokestops are in places you probably shouldn't go.
I don't think, as far as the school element goes, though, I don't think that this game presents any new. It's not like teachers now are letting students just like, hey, yeah, go ahead and play video games all the time in class. I mean, like most schools have rules about like cell phone usage
Yeah,
and things like that already. So it's not like this opens up a whole new can of worms in terms of
Right.
kids wanting to use their phone in
Are
class.
there going to be fights on recess, though, about different teams?
Oh, I bet.
What are they-
I mean,
what are they
people will
gonna
fight
fight
anything
about?
to fight about.
Oh, what if the school itself is a gym? I bet a lot of them are.
That sounds
crazy.
great. That sounds like a great activity.
What a fun activity for the children.
I agree. I'm serious.
Let's see. So Aubrey writes in and says, considering how much of a cultural phenomenon Pokemon Go appears to have become, I'm curious what the GI crew thinks the amount of cultural impact it will have. Things like South Park episodes, stand-up comedians, mentions or appearances in television shows and whatnot. How do you see it all shake out? How long until it appears
All
everywhere?
the above. All
Yeah.
the above. There's no way it doesn't. It's again, this is like one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Do you want to gamble on South Park making a Pokemon Go
Sure.
episode?
Absolutely will happen.
I also think that'll happen. All right, there's no problem here. I was just talking with Andy McNamara about there's going to be a popular hip hop song within 4 months that makes some passing reference to Pokemon Go. It's going to work itself into the culture in such a
100%.
sick way. Let's see. Last question from Eric Peterson here from St. Augustine, Florida. He says, and this is crucial apparently, if Dan Tack was a Pokemon, which Pokemon would he be?
He
And
actually
then
said that in.
he also mentions gotta attack them all. So which
It's funny because
Pokemon?
that one was actually asked on Twitter. I remember when I
Mm.
told you told him to go send it in.
That's right.
Wow.
Judging from your demeanor during that Setsuna conversation, I'm gonna go with the drowsy.
Hey, wow, that's all right. That's your pick. All right, I'm not gonna pick for myself because that would be cheating.
Let's see,
so.
Muck. What are the most offensive Pokemon we could list here? I love you, Dan Tack.
That's good. I'm glad you did.
With this shirt, you're more like a Mr. Mime, looking all fancy.
What about
Mr. Mime,
Oh, we got it, Mr. Mime.
Mr. Mime sounds right.
one of the stupidest
Pretty much.
Pokemon ever.
Damn.
Oh,
Mr.
yeah,
Mime Tack.
he's selling us on it. All right.
Really
Yeah.
sold.
I got.
Man, it's a weird experience to hear everybody raving about AR and oh my god, it's the future, Pokemon Go, and then I also spend a lot of time with VR in the last week. It's now time to isolate myself in a cold room and be constantly disappointed, not by the servers, but just by the content that's out there.
I also love that people talking about this as an AR game, which of course using the map system and stuff it does. But
Yeah.
I also love that all right, first thing you need to do in this game is turn off the AR if you want to play it right.
I mean, it's just more efficient
Right,
that
yeah.
way.
I completely agree. It's silly and it makes for good, tweets and whatnot to have the camera on. But I think when people talk about AR, yeah, you mentioned it's the maps. It's the idea that if you broaden out the definition a little bit, it still applies.
There's nothing funnier than finding a Grimer in your toilet and posting it to the whole world. Right? That's what everyone has been doing since the start of this
yeah.
game, and
Yeah,
it's never stopped.
That's what Buster Keaton would be doing today if
Yeah,
he were
you know what?
alive.
I still like it. I like when people post pictures of hey, look at this drowsy. It's at JV's desk, and I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty good. It's really on his head right there.
That's funny stuff.